Good day and welcome back to another week of Talking Technical. And thank you for all the requests. And somebody dropped me an email to ask about the speculation group. In essence, the speculation group is a small, tiny group of traders that's been with us a long time. We do accept novices, but then it takes a few months for you to understand the system and to see what we see. But the beauty is, if we send a trading idea, you can have your chart with you, and we all work from the 30-minute chart so that everybody know what we look at. On the Aussie and on the S&P 500, we either use the 1 hour chart or maybe the 4 hour chart to give us some good direction what the market wants to do. So it's in simple. We send out a trading idea. You look at your chart, you agree or you disagree, and the moment you do not understand what we do, you drop us a WhatsApp, you type and you say, Frans, I cannot see this head and shoulder, I cannot see this chart or this candle that you're talking about, and then suddenly I will show you. And by doing that, you learn step by step. So eventually, we've got a lot of members on the group just looking out for the trading ideas. They see what we see, they see what they see, and they can carry on with that. And on the other hand, then you've got a group where they will teach themselves and, by the way, eventually know exactly what we do, and then they can do it on their own. So let's kick off with the first request, Merck. Now, Merck was a request last week, but what I see is, and I use a weekly chart here for the viewer that asked, what I do not like about the chart is the following. What do we see here? We see a head and shoulder formation, but it's not just a head and shoulder that we see. We see some lower eyes. There's the eye, there's a lower eye, and even there's a lower eye, but the big one here is this. Look what happens here. There's the 40-week moving average, and we tested the 40-week moving average. We confirmed that into a resistance, and that is a negative. So where's my neckline? My neckline sits at 105 on the dot, 105.25 to be exact. And if it plays out, let's do the conservative target first. And remember, this is one of those big pharmaceutical companies, and they print money, usually with their medicine. But I always say that a warning formation, like a head and shoulder or even a double top, I never ignore. I've seen over the years that double tops and head and shoulder formations are usually warning formations that can help you a lot. Now, the conservative target, we get it from the top of the right shoulder to the neckline, extend that to the downside, and that brings us to exactly $100.46 American cents. And if it play out in full, of course, from the top of the head to the neckline, extend to the downside, it can take it down all the way down to 93.95. Now, of course, usually if you've got a head and shoulder formation, sometimes you find that the stochastic is just nowhere. So where and what is weighing the most? The most is the head and shoulder formation. So below $105, be nervous, and it can work out to the downside. It can maybe take it all the way down to 94. And where will this head and shoulder formation disappear? It will disappear when the share can move back above the 40-week moving average, and that is sitting at $110.33. So I hope it helps the viewer. In short is, I will not buy, I will not accumulate. In actual fact, if I'm a holder of the share, I will maybe look at locking in some profits. And why? Because this 40-week moving average is a strong long-term moving average. And when a share starts to move below that, it tells you that some long-term investors are nervous and they may be looking at locking in some profits. Let's have a look at, I think, the most important chart almost in the world, and that is the US dollar 30-year bond. And if I look at this chart, I mean, it is quite simple that this tells us that interest rates can still tick higher. Now, everybody says, yes, we're going to see lower interest rates. We're going to see a interest rate that's going to stagnate and it's going nowhere. But if I look at this chart, and this is for me the important thing, while we're above that, and I'm going to give you the level. First of all, while we're above 4.36, we can easily see interest rates in America ticking higher. But on the other hand, if we use this as our support line, all the guys that say, listen, we're not going to go even higher with interest rates, we're actually going to go a little bit lower, they will say, look at what we see here. We see a rising wedge, and a rising wedge is usually a turnaround signal. But for me, it is quite simple. And I like the stochastic. Look at the stochastic is sitting on a weekly chart on almost 88. Yes, it is overbought. And there's also a tiny, you can almost say, yeah, rising wedge. And that tells you that it can easily break to the downside. Let's just get that. There you are. It can easily break out of this little channel, and then it can maybe trigger some downward pressure. But for me, the big level is this, and that is 4.18. While we're above 4.18, it tells me that interest rates can maybe tick even higher. And where's my 40-week moving average? There's the 40-week moving average, and that is sitting at 3.91, and we're sitting now at 4.40. So while we're above 3.91, the sense for the long term is more weakening interest rates, so higher interest rates. But I think only if we can break the support line, yes, we can maybe look at some relief in interest rates in America. And I cannot see that we will actually drop interest rates while this chart is slowly but surely ticking higher. Yes, there is maybe a sign of maybe pulling back, but I'm not that sure. But for me, this is the most important chart because that tells you what's going to happen with interest rates in time to come. Somebody asked about uranium, the unit trust. And there's an exchange traded fund, the Global X Uranium ETF. Now, this guy just wants to go in and buy it. I think it's maybe a little bit late. Look at my stochastic. My stochastic is at 92. That tells you that it's definitely overbought. What happened in the past when it got to this 97 level? It pulled back, and it also gave us a beautiful opportunity of a pullback here. The 40-week moving average, yes, is a beautiful support, and it's curving slowly to the upside. That's positive. But for me, look at this lamp ball formation. I want to see this stochastic to pull back a little bit, maybe bring this back all the way to this 40-week moving average, because what happened in the past, every time that it touched this 40-week moving average, it gave us a beautiful signal. In that case, it went up. In that case, it went down. So for me, it's quite simple. Lamp ball formation, first sign of weakness will be below this little line. Let's just get it in there. There you are. I just want to see. That's it. Below $26.63, this uranium ETF can pull back, and my levels will be 24.49, 24.32, 22.96, and maybe if we're lucky, it can go all the way down to 21.64. In actual fact, I know there's a tiny little gap at $22.50. Maybe you can get in there and then buy, because then it's a close of a gap. Then by that time, this indicator should be nicely oversold, and then it can maybe give us a quick bounce from there. Let's have a look at the next one, and that is Sappi. Now, if we look at Sappi, of course, that's that giant company in South Africa that's involved with pulp. And if I look at this chart, there you are. We showed it before. It looks like it's back on the horizon again. And I just want to draw this line in just to show you that this, there you are, falling wedge is in play. Let's do that projection. And there you are. It broke up. It can maybe go back all the way to 46.39. But for me, it's quite simple. What's important is this goodbye kiss. Look what happened. It came back to test the support line. And I start to see higher lows here. And I will add to my position above $40.83 if I were you, but I will make use of a stop loss of $39.95. And where's my targets? It will be 42.29, then 40-week moving average at 44.10, and it will play out in full in 46 Rand and 61 cents. Well, thank you for watching the show. Thank you for joining our candle of the day or even the speculation group. By the way, the speculation group average do between 1,500 to 2,000 points a month. I mean, that's a handsome lot and not bad. But visit our website www.fransdeclaire.com for more info and we will chat again.